Hello, everybody, and welcome to the it's real. It's the takeover. Look, I know y'all were expecting Sasha, but I'm here now. It's Chappell, the substitute captain. I used to be
Ooh.
the first mate. I used to be the chief entertainment officer, but now I'm the captain. And I am going to be taking us on this most recent charter while Sasha is out. Thank y'all all for tuning in. With me, I have for the first time. I don't know if you're my first mate, if you're my first chief stew.
I'm Chief
Chantel, what would you say
Stew.
you are? You chief
Well, I
stew?
mean, I was just going to be a temporary stew just while, things were transitioning. But because Sasha isn't here, I am now been upgraded and promoted to Chief Stew.
All right, now if Sasha comes back, are you willing to let her be in control? Are you willing to give up chief stew?
I will say that I'm fine with it, but I will probably be really passive aggressive and maybe throw out some microaggressions.
Well, I'm glad that you started like that because I'm very interested to think or to hear what you think about these most recent episodes of Below Deck. Chantel, I did not know that you were a Below Deck fan until recently. Tell me about your
Do
history
you
watching the
even know
show.
me? I mean,
Listen, I know that you
like,
like Big Brother. I know that, I
Mhm.
know you're into the games, but I didn't know that you were into Below Deck specifically. So tell me about your Below Deck journey because I'm new here.
You're new here. Well, okay, I'm a reality TV super duper fan. I watch pretty much everything. I give everything a shot and a chance, most likely. And I don't know if it was beginning of the pandemic or if it was beforehand, but I remember just being like, I need a new show to watch. And so I saw that I think Sailing Deck was starting, and I was like, I
Mhm.
started watching. I was like, this seems interesting, but I feel like I don't understand what's going on. So let me go all the way to the beginning. And so I
Yes.
went to the beginning of the regular one, and then I did all of Mediterranean, and then I caught up to Sailing Deck, and now I've been up to date for the last like 5 years or so, or 4 years. So I am, I guess, a new-ish fan, but I've seen everything. I've
Yes,
seen it
us
all.
us reality TV purists, we like to go watch something, but then we have to go know everything about it because we got to be able to talk about it intelligently. So that means we have to see everything. So, Chantel, you beat me to it. I have not got a chance to go back and get into all
Oh,
the
you are
prior Below
so
Decks.
lucky. It's
No,
real fun.
I'm going in. I am. I'm very excited about it because
What have you seen?
I started when we did Below Deck Down Under. That was the first time I covered it, and then I think whatever season was right before that, I jumped in and started to watch because Sasha was like, "You really got to watch it." And so after I watched, I think it was Selling Yacht. Then I was like, "Oh well, that was fun. Oh, we're going down under. That's cool too." But now
These
we're
are
in
all like
Med,
brand new series. Like this is
right?
like these are new.
I gotta go back and meet all the other people. I gotta meet Kate
Yeah,
and
aren't you
Brent.
excited to like know Kate's origin story?
I
And
am
then
because I met
also
her on the Traders.
absolutely. And then did you also watch Traders UK's or Australia season 2?
I did. I started and so I met another person from Below Deck as well. I forgot what her name was though.
Hannah.
Hannah, yes. And I haven't finished that one yet though, because I was still watching the Traders season 2 for what is that? Australia, right?
Australia, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And
I guess you haven't gotten to episode, I think 6 and 7 yet.
mhm.
That those are a couple of episodes where I definitely was screaming at the screen. But yes, going back because Sandy, whatever
Captain.
the captain of this series is
Mhm.
the one that was the captain for most of the series with Hannah. And so
Mhm.
it will be really interesting for you to go back and see Hannah's journey with Sandy, especially after you kind of get to know her on the Traders.
Right, cause see, I met Captain Sandy on Project Runway last season on the All Stars because she came on the Below Deck episode. So they did a challenge where they did clothes for all the Below Deck like superstars, I guess. They brought in Z, they brought in Sandy, and a few other people. And I was like, I don't know Sandy. But then when this series starts up again, I'm like, oh, it's Captain Sandy. I know her. But Chantel, I'm not gonna lie to you, the people seem like they are very like hot and cold on Captain Sandy. And I think I'm starting to form my opinion on this episode.
Well,
What do
this
you
is
think
the
about
thing.
Sandy, Chantel?
In the beginning, I was like, yes, Sandy, boss, woman, female in this male dominated industry. Like, I was super on board with Sandy. And then sometimes she makes decisions that really piss me off. And I'm like, oh, I'm not down with Sandy. I'm like, get her off the boat. So
Yeah.
I am always hot and cold with Sandy. This episode, I was cold for the most part with Sandy. And it's a journey. It's rocky waves with Sandy on these Mediterranean seas.
Okay, yeah, like we're gonna get into that and much, much more. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in to us on YouTube. If you're in the chat, I see you, Zen, Josh, we see y'all. And yeah, always tune in. We try to go live every week. We had to do a reschedule and a reorganization this time because Sasha's out and she normally handles everything. But now I'm here and I'm in control, and it's gonna be a little chaotic. And so hopefully we all have a good time here. But Chantele, let's get into the big picture of this episode. We have Tumi, we have Natalya. They're butting heads. Tell me, you know these people better than I do. What is your just like knee-jerk reaction to some of the things you've seen up to this episode, and including the stuff in this episode between those two people?
So I wasn't a fan of Natalya on the first season that I saw her, and I believe it was the last season. Her and her chief stew on the previous season, I'm forgetting her name right now, Natasha. They were kind of butting heads. She was always trying to assume her dominance and undermining her chief stew, and she was always kind of catty. She was also in a relationship with this deckhand, and I didn't think that she was very kind to him, and so I just didn't really enjoy my Natalya experience previously. And so I came in, new season. She's stepping into this role as chief stew because Tumi was stuck at the border and she wasn't able to get into Italy. And so I was like, okay, you know what? She's doing a really great job. I see that she's really trying to be likable. She's making friends with the chef. She's being nice to the second stew. I'm like, I really like this side of Natalya. Maybe I was wrong.
Like, you could think you like somebody, but you could be wrong.
Maybe I'm wrong. And so I was watching, and then as soon as like the dynamic came back with, oh my gosh, I forgot his name right now. What's the other Kyle? So when I see Kyle is with Tumi, I was like, ooh, Kyle and Natalya, they really had some friction last season, like where they were like kind of fighting a lot. And then I was like, he's with Tumi. I'm like, it's not going to be good because I felt that he was going to maybe plant a bad seed with Tumi. Whether it was going to be truthful or not, I just knew it wasn't going to be really helpful for their relationship to start off on the right foot. And there I was definitely right because he did say that like, hey, like I had trouble with Natalya in the past. Tumi did message something back that maybe she shouldn't have. Then he spreads this broken telephone in a way that was even more negative than what Tumi actually said. And it really started this whole charter season off on the bad foot. And I think that Natalya personally was just waiting on anything that she could to not want to like Tumi. Because like really what Tumi was saying wasn't problematic. When they were having that first interaction, when she was letting her know like how the setup of everything and how the first charter went, Tumi was just like, oh, you did an amazing job. I don't think that the original setup of everything is like maybe the best that it could be, but like you did the best with what you had and you did a great job. And Natalya is here is like, you're terrible, you're awful. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is just not working. She's not listening and she doesn't want to listen. And so I feared that Tumi was going to have to be thwarting microaggressions for most of the season.
And you might be right. Sasha is a big Tumi gal. She loves Tumi. How'd you feel about Tumi coming into this season as well?
I liked Tumi. I liked her first season. She kind of stayed out of the drama, but she was always really great and professional about her job. I also love seeing somebody Black that's in this world that's just, you never really see very many people of color in or given an opportunity to be part of like a deck team or the interior team. And so I was really happy to see her. I thought she was a great addition her first season. And then seeing her stepping up as chief stew, I thought that was amazing, and I was really, really happy to see this type of representation. So I am going to be like just so for Tumi because she is having to deal with way more than just Natalya being annoying. Like there's more that's going on with her stepping up into this role and position, and so I'm proud and impressed that she's able to handle it so far.
Yeah, this episode we get into like the nitty gritty of like all the fighting. It's very weird to me too that a lot of this is allowed to happen because we were talking about things last episode as if we just knew Captain Sandy was going to come in and shut this down, right? Because you have Tumi, who is the boss, who is trying to trying to meet Natalya where she is several different times. She goes to talk to her, she apologizes, she compliments her work, and she just tries to really get it hammered home. Like, I'm trying to help us. I want to work on this together as like a group. I really want us to be a team. But Natalya is turning up left and right. And it always is the same conversation. It's always, well, when you got on the boat, you had such negative energy, and I don't want to be friends with you. I don't want to work with you. I don't want to do all this other stuff.
Don't you be moving your hands at me like that, Chappell.
Right. I do the hand thing, and she's just like, no, don't put your hands down, to the point where she's shouting, and Captain Sandy literally has to come break it up. Whereas Tumi is not shouting. She's like, she says, don't put your hands up. Tumi puts her hands down. She holds them like
she's been like this. She's like,
right.
Like, how awful is that she is not able to just like have a natural movement of her hands when she's trying to express herself without Natalya calling her out as it being somewhat aggressive and antagonistic, and that she's putting her fingers in her face, even though Natalya is one to be waving fingers and hands when she's speaking as well. It was very annoying.
Yeah, this was really hard to watch because you're seeing that, Toomey's even telling us, I'm trying, I'm trying to figure out what it is that I can say to her that'll make this, work out. And there's just nothing there. Every time she tries to talk to Natalya, she gets nowhere, to the point where Captain Sandy has to come out, break things up. But a lot of this does lay at the feet of Kyle because Natalya's, one of her biggest beef that she doesn't originally say at first, is that Kyle has texted her or told her, I'm sorry, about the text message between Kyle and Tumi after they had met and talked or whatever, and said that from Kyle's perspective, from his retelling, that Natalya could potentially get fired by Tumi. And Natalya obviously is on guard because of that. Now, she's not really acting like someone who could get fired from my point of view, because if I'm thinking you might fire me, I maybe won't turn up as much as Natalya's doing. But from her point of view, Tumi been talking to her ass behind her back, and now she's talking about getting her fired. She's plotting against her, and she's not willing to hear it. You are familiar with Kyle. How do you think Kyle is being portrayed in this moment? Because for me, I'm loving Tumi and what she's trying to do. I get that she's trying to take accountability. I'm not loving Natalya because she's so defensive. She's on the attack at this point for Tumi, and I'm not liking it. But Kyle, I feel like this is your fault, and you're almost getting away with it. And I don't like that either, Chantele.
I do think that this is all Kyle's fault. And he does admit, he's like, I think what I said, like, I wish that I hadn't said it. Now, I think part of it, it's a TV show at the same time. Like, yes, they're here to do a job, but it's also a TV show. He's been brought back. I'm sure he knows that he can maybe instigate a little bit of a fight here between them, just to cause a little bit of dissension. And then it's going to be an interesting episode. So I think that part of his producer hat, or being cast again on another a season in the future, is kind of why he might have dropped this little bomb towards Natalya. But I don't think that he realized how bad it was going to affect the work relationship. So I think he was putting on his producer hat, but I don't think that he really, really knew how badly Natalya was going to react.
Which is awful, because like, if you're trying to make good TV, this is good TV. Like, we like to see the fighting and stuff like that. That's why we come to reality television. But when it starts to kind of shift into, very targeted attacks on each other, like you said, there might be some microaggressions in here, some things that are being said that you really could take very personally in a world where this is just supposed to be your job. I think he's gone too far. I know that Natalya is still venting to literally anybody on the boat who will listen to her, including Kyle. And so he knows that she is turning up and it's not great. And so he's telling her, like, the walls have ears, why don't you turn that down a little bit? And then he starts to recount the text messages for us. And Chantele, it said, giving you a heads up between us. I know you're mates with her, but Nat needs to stay in her lane because Tumi losing her shit will end up in her walking off because she had a diva moment. Tumi was talking about if she gets upset, she will walk off. That's what Tumi was trying to portray. How Kyle turned that into,
you're gonna get fired.
She's gonna get fired. She's gonna fire you. I don't know. Like, it does seem a little bit like maybe he's on the payroll, Chantele.
Maybe he's on the payroll. And another thing that just kind of frustrates me about this whole situation is that Natalya really doesn't feel like there's any sort of repercussions for her actions whatsoever. And one of the times when Captain Sandy pulls the two of them, and Tumi started saying something, and in front of Natalya, Captain Sandy shoots Tumi down and was like, "Oh, you shouldn't say that." I was like, "Whoa, why?" Natalya's saying a lot of things that she shouldn't be saying right now. I get it. She's in a leadership position, but like I also think that it's inappropriate to reprimand the leader in front of the subordinate, like because that also will really support Natalya in being kind of cruel and unkind to Tumi, and whatever Tumi's saying is actually being reprimanded by Captain Sandy. So I thought that didn't help the dynamic at all.
Yeah, it felt like Captain Sandy was missing the plot. We brought her in. Captain Sandy says, "Tumi, Natalya, let's talk." And Tumi starts off with, "I'm worried about the constant resistance, right? Like every time I tried something, there's nothing I can do to make Nat kind of, do exactly what I need her to do. It's just really hard for me to do that." And so when Natalya starts pushing back with her normal, "You came in with bad energy, XYZ," I think Toomey started to mock her in front of her. And so Sandy's like, "Toomey, that's a bad leader." But then from there, we never see Captain Sandy double back to Natalya and be like, "And also, why are you acting like this? What can we do to fix this? You need to be subordinate. You need to, follow your boss, and turn down, stop all this hollering and stuff like that on the boat. Y'all have to work together." But we don't ever see Captain Sandy address that from
No.
Natalya. And I think that is the part that's bothering me about Captain Sandy. I know people are like saying like her actions are really what turn people off to her, but to me, it's inaction. It's almost that Captain Sandy is sitting around going, "I'll let them figure it out because they need to figure it out. I'll let them figure it out." I was like, "Well,
But
how
she's
is
quick to fire though. Like she lets people figure it out and then she'll fire them. Like
really?"
yeah, she fires people.
Well, look, Captain Sandy, it might be time. It might be time to pull the trigger on
I
that
would
one.
fire Natalya, to be
Of
honest.
course,
Like
of course.
100%. Like I know she did a good job when she was stepping up into that leadership role, but I think part of working on as a part of a team is to be able to be flexible and great in every role that you are given. So you can't only be a good leader without being a good follower, in my opinion. And so the fact that she is not being a good team member means that she's not a good team member. And she's a bad egg. I think she should. I think she should go. I think she needs to be taught a lesson personally.
Right, and that's the thing. I agree with you that Natalya is probably who I would be cutting at this moment. But based on Captain Sandy's like antics in this episode, where she basically was just kind of like, "To me, chill," but Natalya, like, she'll
Go
get it
off,
together. Y'all
queen.
work it out, right? It did feel like if she had to fire somebody, I wouldn't put past Captain Sandy to fire Toomey instead, and just put Natalya back in that leadership role that
Oh
she
my
so
god.
obviously wants.
If she did that, I would riot, I think. That's really, really that's not a good look. I don't think that the network would allow that to happen because, like, the first time that they're having a black chief stew and she's having confrontations with this non-black coworker, and they're having bickering matches, and Tumi can't say anything correct to this Natalya person. She's tried every angle, and the Natalya person is just not accepting anything. And then you fire Tumi. Whew.
Mm,
that
yeah,
that would
it's
be
a bad look.
very bad.
It's a bad look because we even see that, Jessica is there as well, and she's sent to help Natalia, but Natalia is still venting to Jessica too. And we know Jessica is not about the drama. She's like, "Leave me out of it. Just let me be down here, ironing clothes and making the beds, clean trash. Like, I don't want to be in any of the drama." But Natalia is telling us and Jessica that like Toomey picked the fight with the wrong person. That is not the person that you want leading this, because this person
Mhm.
is clearly the most combative of the two. It's just that in Captain Sandy's actions, nothing showed me that she really wanted to reel Natalya in. It's like she almost wanted to empower Toomey to reel her in. But at some point, it's gotten so personal to where Natalya is yelling at Toomey about, "I don't even want to be your friend. I don't want to work with you, this, that, other. And if you have anything to say to me, send that information through Kyle." Ma'am, you don't get to decide who I send information through. Are you crazy?
Yeah, it's so bad. I've definitely had to work with people that I do not like or work under people that I do not like. But you know what my favorite thing is? To smile to people that I hate.
You
Like I
know,
I love
kill them with
just
kindness.
I just give them one of these, and it feels so good knowing how much I don't like them, but I am going to make them think I do. Why doesn't she approach things like this? I don't like having people like outwardly give me negative energy. Like I wouldn't want to be in that fight all the time. Like if I don't want to work with somebody, I sometimes I'll say something under my breath, but and maybe I'll talk about them behind their back, but to their face, I will be agreeable, I will take their direction, and I'll roll my eyes about it later. Like, where is that? Like, roll your eyes about it later. So what? Kyle was up until after 3 a.m. in the morning and he left some balloons? Like, if Tumi says, you know what, I just want him to get to sleep by 3 a.m. because I know that there's 2 people opening or starting at 6, like, I just thought that it would just be better for him to get some sleep. And then you guys have to just like do some last minute touching up. Like, that, there should be no argument there. We understand the rationale behind that decision. Not
Yeah.
that you have to have everything clean. Like, I get it. You want to have everything done before you go to sleep so that people in the morning don't have a mess to clean up. I get it. But there's always these circumstances when you have these guests that are staying up super late. And so I understand Tumi being okay with that decision at this time. Why Natalya had to make a fight about it? So irritating.
Yeah, it just feels like she wants to fight. And you're right. There's so much negative energy surrounding her that it's really affecting everybody else on the boat. Like I already mentioned that Jessica's basically running from her because she doesn't want to be in the drama. But Chef Jack says that
Mhm.
he's chosen Natalya's side just out of loyalty purely, and that he's hoping that Natalya and Tumi can work it out because he actually likes working with Tumi. But Natalya's in everyone's ears, like giving them Tumi updates. We see like a montage of her just complaining about Tumi the entire time to anyone who would listen. And that's why I think Captain Sandy is dead ass wrong here. You have to stomp that kind of energy out because if it starts to get to Jack or Jessica, it's going to affect the way they're working and they're not going to be able to do their job without taking things personally from Tumi either, you know? I don't like that every time Captain Jack is told something from Tumi, it seems like he takes a very personal response to it. And I don't think that would have happened had it not been for Natalya. Um,
100%.
yeah, because I think we could get into it a little bit, but the vegan person who is with the charter, um, she wants, different food. She wants fried tofu and French fries. And that's what she tells Tumi. And Tumi goes and relays that exact message to Captain Jack verbatim for the most part. I mean, it was pretty spot on. Captain Jack takes it and says, "Oh, you want fried tofu? Let me put it in the skillet and sear it on
Pan
both
fry it.
sides.
Pan
Yeah,
fry.
let's pan fry it, which is valuable. That is also fried. But when they take it back, they say, "Oh, we don't
We
want
want
it
it
like
breaded
this."
and deep fried. Okay.
Right, which is
Different.
not what they said originally, right? And so when they said, "Well, let me talk to the captain," they explained to him, "We wanted it breaded and deep fried." He said, "I was told to have it pan fried." That is not what happened because now they're looking at Tumi and saying, well, maybe Tumi's incompetent. Maybe she's not good at her job. But I don't think he had to throw her under the bus like that. And I think that some of the personal activity between Natalya and Jack are really starting to color the way he's looking at Tumi.
100%. I think also with that whole, so it's being covered by what Natalia has originally said about Toomey. And so Jack is looking through this lens. So he's going to have some confirmation biases of her incompetence, how she's not a good chief stew, that Natalia's better. So that's all, anything that she does is going to be colored by the fact that she's a bad chief stew. And then I even noticed it when Kyle was talking when they saw the menu and they made a couple of changes to the menu. I remember distinctly her saying, I believe I wanted a different pasta with the lobster for my third course, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so he repeated that back to her, and I heard him say that. So like, we're gonna start off with, I think it was lobster pasta at the top. We'll have this, and then I want the same but with a different pasta. Is what I think
Yeah.
I understood what the changes to the menu were. But when he relayed that to me and to me then to Jack, the whole second pasta thing was never relayed. And
Mm.
so that's how I understood where that I was like, wait, what about the second pasta? Like, I remember thinking that when the whole broken telephone was happening again. And so I knew that was going to be a problem. But then how Jack immediately was saying to Tumi, like, well, you don't have an understanding what's going on here. And it's like, well, she doesn't, because what's been relayed to her has been incorrect. But so then what's been relayed to you has been incorrect. So the actual, like, the chain of events started from Kyle not relaying the information accurately. And so I was frustrated for Tumi there, because like what was she supposed to go back to the guest and be like, sorry, I just want to make sure that my second stew has the information correct. This is what you want. This is what you want. She didn't do that, which she could. Micromanaging, nobody really likes that, but she could have done that. She didn't. And then she did relay the exact information from the guest as like, I want some fried tofu and some French fries. She wanted something deep fried. And so the fact that he threw her under the bus, but I think it was because she made the mistake now with the pasta. He's getting all this additional information from Natalya. And now again, he's giving her bad information. So he thinks he's looking bad, like he's a bad chef. I think that he just wanted to retaliate just because he didn't want to look like he was the incompetent one.
Right. And it really frustrating to me to watch that, because Chef Jack, he acts like he gonna get a bad review or something like that as a chef, right? Like, how hard would it have been for him to say, oh, you know what? You're right. My bad. I misunderstood you. There could be potentially a language barrier, or maybe that, like, whatever the case may be. But you could literally say,
just say sorry.
Yeah,
oh my God, you said fried. I didn't know you meant deep fried.
My bad. Done. I thought you meant pan fried. But to go and be like, Tumi, in front of the guest, when she is the person who is supposed to be front facing the guest, that really undermines her in a way where he could have had that conversation with her offhand. Like, hey, did you tell me they wanted it breaded? And you could say, no, I didn't know they wanted it breaded. They didn't say that originally. And you have that conversation out of the way of the guest. But Jack, you're not going to get any cool points for
no. He's just going to punish Tumi. It's like kind of like when you have a pet and they pee in the wrong spot, and so you rub their face in the pee, so that they don't do that again. Like, I think that he was just trying to humiliate her and punish her, and I really don't enjoy it. And do you know what he should be worried about? The fact that he thinks making Caribbean food is putting jerk seasoning on everything.
Oh my God. He literally was like, I'm just going to pour jerk seasoning on everything and just call it a day, including the tofu and the fries. Like, he's just like, just spraying it all on everything. And they're like, oh yeah, it smells like the Caribbean here. It's like, that's because it's all he's doing is adding jerk seasoning to all the menu items that he was already going to cook.
I don't even love jerk seasoning.
It's fine.
It's fine, but like, I don't want it on everything.
Food, I want Caribbean food, like I just don't want my regular ass food to taste like it's from the Caribbean. I don't know.
Want, like, my white rice with jerk seasoning.
Right, exactly, sir. Do a little extra work here, because
Jamaican food's so good. Like,
it really
you're
is.
ruining it.
Oh my God, like, sir, if you don't bring out some oxtail and call it a day, this man is tripping.
Saltfish,
right? Yeah,
cakes.
so. Yeah, come on. See, Chantele,
oh my God, fresh patties. Oh my God.
This is why me and you click, because we gonna find the food.
Oh my God, New Orleans. Okay.
Yes. Anyway, LA, food court, the mall. Listen, that's an aside. But Morgan in the chat says, just arriving to the stream, I was really shook by how hateful Natalya was toward Tumi. I get not liking someone, but she took it to a whole new level. And so for me, I totally agree. This felt personal in a way that it should have never been personal, because we later on will see that there's a moment where Jessica tells Tumi, they talk or whatever. And Tumi's like, hey, the cabins aren't done. When she previously talked to Natalya said, I've done the cabins. They're all done. I'm about to go do XYZ, but they're already finished. Cool. There's no reason why Tumi should have to go double check this woman's work. So she goes down there, and Jessica and her are talking, and Tumi's like, hey, y'all didn't wipe the bathrooms down, the mirrors or whatever.
The garbage in the garbage.
There's trash in the bins. Yeah, like that, for me, that is not being done. And so Jessica says to Natalya, hey, Tumi's annoyed because they had trash in the bins. And Natalya just goes off again. Like, oh, would you expect me to check them 3 times a day? Yeah, if that's what your boss expects from you, what are you talking about? If your job is housekeeping, then keep house. I just don't understand
Like
what the issue
imagine
is.
you're at like a resort of a 5-star resort, and you put that on your door that you would like the maid service to come and clean your room, and you don't get clean towels. Your
Right.
garbage is still dirty. There's streaks on the mirror, and
Exactly.
like I'd be like, am I leaving you a tip?
Right. Like
Like
all you did was make the bed and sweep. I would love for you to have some clean towels. Maybe I have trash in there that I don't want to be in there anymore. Maybe take it out because you were in there. It's like if you're already in the room, why didn't you just do it? But Natalya looks at this as a personal attack from Tumi. She's like, nothing I
I'm
do is good
nitpicking.
enough. Yeah, she's nitpicking, she's micromanaging to where when they have the conversation about this, Tumi is like, I'm sorry, this is gonna make me mad actually to recount this, but whatever. Jessica tells Natalya what's up. Natalya gets on the walkie-talkie and she's like, Tumi, can you please come to the bar or whatever? Tumi comes to the bar. And when she gets there, immediately Natalya's like, what's the issue this time? Whoa, slow down. What's the issue this time? That is loaded in general. First of all, I never told you there was an issue. We haven't talked. This time makes it seem like there's always an issue, and I haven't really given you that much instruction because we've been avoiding each other. Because every time we talk, you be arguing with me. So she came out the gate kind of in just like attack mode. And so when Tumi's trying to tell her, when I think that the cabins are done, that means that they are wiped down. And before she can even finish, Natalya's just like, look, congratulations, you're the chief stew. But where I come from, we don't do. I'm like, hold on, slow down. So all of this felt like it was just like a lot of just personal bottled up frustration. And I don't know where it's coming from, Chantele, because all of this to come from that first interaction where Tumi said she didn't like the organization of the boat, it seems a little like misplaced anger, or at least it seems like it might be about something else.
And that's I was like, oh man, I'm coming on this one to talk about these microaggressions. Like, I just want to talk about this dumb show, but I really feel like it's targeted, and I feel like if it was any other chief stew that we've had on any other season, that Natalya would have accepted her being her superior in this position, and wouldn't be second guessing every decision that she's making and deciding to go against every single thing that she says. Like it's not a wild thing for your chief stew to expect that when you say that you have completed the cabins and that they're done and that you're ready to leave the boat and go and help the guests on the shore, that there wouldn't be garbage in the garbage can. Like it's not wild and crazy to expect that, and or to have towels in the cupboards. Like, it's just not crazy to expect that. And so the fact that she doesn't want to be friends with her, why? Why do you not
Why?
want to be friends with Tumi? What really has she done that doesn't warrant for you to be friends with her? Because she didn't say thank you enough to your liking when she first came up. Like, she hasn't done enough to prove to you that you should be kind to her, be friendly with her, to respect her. Like, what more does she need to do other than change her skin color for you to warrant some respect? And I'm sorry that I had to bring us to this place, but that's what I was feeling this whole episode. It was really, really hard to watch.
Right. And Chantel, you've worked in the service industry before. I know that you were a flight attendant at
I
one time
still
as
am.
well. Right. And so I know you know how it feels to get, like anger that is not that you have not earned. You know what I'm saying? Like the things that you as a service person are trying to do the best that you can do at your job, but you can tell that sometimes there's something about someone that just won't allow them to work with you or to be kind to you. Do you have any experiences like that?
I'm gonna try to. I don't have an example like right off the top of my head, but I know I've had many, many instances where I've been treated unfairly for no other reason than I can assume, other than the color of my skin. So whether it's been being sworn at, or being spat at, or like, I've had really a lot of shitty situations happening, absolutely, and I haven't done anything other than just like just be here being myself. Definitely I've had people get mad at me, and or like bring their ooh I do have an example. This
Ooh,
wasn't when I was
okay.
working as a flight attendant, but I was working in Montreal, and I was hostessing at this restaurant. And it was a restaurant where it's kind of like a club atmosphere after dinner service. So a lot more people would come in than the seating capacity. And I was asked by the owners of the restaurant at one point that we are at capacity. The fire department says that we cannot have any more people come in at this moment, or we are going to have to shut the place down. So we had like a lineup around the block of people wanting to come in. And this one man came into this restaurant, and I said, unfortunately, we can't allow any more people to come in this time. Once more people leave, you can come in. And he starts kind of going at me, antagonizing me. And then he actually started mocking an ape and mocking me, being like and saying like, oh, like I was acting like I was a monkey, and that's why and that's how he was kind of combating against me. And I was shocked, and I was like, okay. And I just, at that point, I was just like, you can do whatever you want, whatever, you can go in.
Oh my God.
So that is that's an extreme version of what kind of went on here. But when Natalya is saying things like, oh, why are you moving your hands like this? Why is she not allowed to move her hands like this? This is how she expressed herself. Italian people are allowed to say, like, I'm Italian, I use my hands. And Latinos are allowed to say, I'm fiery, I'm Latina, I'm allowed to be. So I'm not allowed to be expressive with the way that I'm speaking without you calling me something derogatory. And so that's kind of also probably why I was maybe triggered by how Natalya was approaching Tumi, because I've had like certain situations where it was a direct racial kind of attack.
No, first of all, awful that you had to deal with that. I mean, we could go probably on and on and on, back and forth between stories of just like microaggressions and stuff like that, or macroaggressions even, just plain downright aggression. But you know, I think that that's a very good point that you bring up. Is this just like sometimes in the service industry, we are put in places where people don't want to see us, and they might not even be able to acknowledge that it might come from a different place, because all of us watching at home are still trying to figure out what Tumi did that was so deeply personal and hurtful to Natalya that she completely writes off her friendship altogether. And it's hard to watch, honestly.
Wouldn't you just love, though, just like Tumi calmly to be like, just say, Natalya, if I were white, would you be more kind to me? Just like, and say it. Just say it. Just ask her. And she probably will go like and be like, oh my God, how much did you say that? I can't believe you're suggesting. Then she'd probably go like way in the other direction. But I would like to see how she'd react.
If someone said something like that to me, my first instinct would be, oh my God, what did I say to you to make you think that? You know, it wouldn't be to escalate it even more. But from what we've seen from Natalya, there's nothing Tumi can say to her that's not going to make her go up to 10. Thundercats, welcome to the chat. Jenny as well, JD. So listen, Thundercat says she also wasn't doing that at all. She would raise her hand ever so slightly, and Natalya was grossly and racistly exaggerated the hand gestures. Like, yeah, she took it from I'm talking with my hands to get your hands out of my face, essentially. And that's not what she was doing.
It's as if she was like clapping in her face or something.
Right.
And, like, Tumi was not doing any of that, but she definitely was exaggerating what Tumi was doing. And then when she was retelling to like Kyle being like, and she's all up in my face like this, and Kyle's like, oh my God.
Right. Like, I didn't know Tumi was acting like that. It's because she's not acting like that. You know, she's just not. So we get the interaction, of course, between Tumi and Captain Sandy and Natalya, where she steps in and, you know, like I said, Captain Sandy thanks Natalya for doing what she did before she got there. And then we never hear Tumi's side. Sandy says that, you know, Tumi owes her an apology, and that if it happens again, I'll step in. And this is when Natalya starts talking about the text messages. So Tumi does acknowledge that it was an unprofessional text. Yes, if you are someone's boss, do not text the other employees that you're upset about anything dealing with the employees. It is not what you should do. But then if you read the context of the text, it's not as bad as Natalya is escalating it to sound like it is, right? And so she ends up going to talk to Kyle about this. And Kyle immediately, when the text messages are brought up, he goes, I'm not afraid to talk about what happened. I don't have anything to hide. No one accused you of hiding anything, Kyle. Did he react in a weird way to you? Because to me, it felt like he was automatically defensive. And then his next move was to completely throw Natalya under the bus and be like, girl, she liked that sometimes. That's how she did me. She back like last year when she gets backed into the corner. What'd she say? When the rat gets backed into the corner, this is how they act?
Yes,
really?
Something like that.
Really, Kyle?
Well, she was really, really unsavory last season. I was really like, get rid of her. Like, because the chief stews have not been able to handle her because they don't want to get too angry because they don't want to lose their job, but then they can't actually manage her. She's quite unmanageable. Even when she tells a story about when she was like a kid, what did she do? She threw something at the teacher. I can't remember the story right now. Do you remember?
No, I don't remember what she did.
She told some story about how she's just being an unruly child, and like the teacher said that something she didn't like, and she threw something like that. But it's just like she's an unruly character, and I'm wondering what like where that comes from, why she has to be so like why she chooses to be on the outs rather than on the ins. Like she prefers to be the villain as opposed to be the friend. And it's like I think that her and when sorry, what's her name? Tumi comes into the laundry room and she's like, Natalya, I think that like you did a really amazing job. And I think that we actually are really a lot alike. And that could be a reason why we're kind of butting heads in some of these instances. Like I thought it started off so well.
Yeah,
and then it went sideways.
Right. From Tumi's side, I thought Tumi handled that great. Only to see that Natalya was not giving it at all back to her. She was not trying to meet her halfway. And, Tumi not finna let Natalya punk her either, so she tells us, that she's used to having to put her emotions to the side to do her job well, but also she's not going to let Natalya talk crazy to her. And so you can see that the switch is going off because Tumi does not like confrontation. She says it from jump. I don't like for people to have all this negative energy. So that whole interaction is just fascinating to me that it comes with someone like Tumi and Natalya, who is just like so closed off to any interaction. In the chat, we got a lot of good information in the chat. So first of all, Zen Knitter says, I picture Kate as Tumi coming in and saying the same things and getting a way different reaction, I'm sure. Chantele, was Kate a very direct person on Below Deck when she had confrontations? Because what I saw from her on the Traders,
That's Kate.
Yeah.
That's Kate.
Did anybody ever go there like that with Kate?
If they did, Kate was very good friends with Captain Lee, and so Captain Lee and her, like they even have a mini show on Bravo, so like they're thick of thieves, and so anything that Kate does, Lee was going to be on her side, so she kind of had free reign in that way. The only people that really stepped to her was what was that blonde bosun's name? Not Joao. This other blonde bosun who is equally as frustrating. He was really, really bad. It was in her last season. Like her and him got in a really, really shitty fight. Anyways, it seems like if I can remember correctly, she's mostly butting heads with the bosuns, and then there was a couple of really annoying stews that just wouldn't do their job that she had some problems with. I think it's her, but her and Hannah both had problems with their stews, so we can't remember whose seasons were what. But yeah, a couple stews, but never in this way where they weren't able to, where they just wouldn't listen to her. Like they were more like complaining about her, but they weren't going against her or like completely getting people, riling the other people on the boat to be against her. Like I've never seen people trying to gang up, and I'm going to say the B word, but it's kind of trying to bully Tumi here, in my opinion, trying to get her little posse of Jack and of what's her crush's name, Luca and
Kyle, trying to get them all teamed up,
and against her. I haven't seen that happen with other chief stews that have been white.
So a lot to unpack there. Natalya, first of all, Morgan says Natalya is so bold to talk to the captain about a text message she ain't never seen. That's first and foremost. You really mad about this text that you heard from Kyle that wasn't even what was said. But Kyle just slips through this situation just unscathed. He's like, yep, that Natalya, she's awful sometimes. You should have seen how she did me. And then Tumi thinks, okay, I can take what Kyle is saying at face value. And so she doesn't know that Kyle has completely twisted this. And that's the reason why, a lot of the reason why Natalya is able to weaponize all of these moments against Tumi.
Did you notice the time when Jessica said, kind of earlier on in the episode, when Natalya first got wind of like this text message, and Jessica said something like, do you think that maybe like Kyle said something about your relationship in the past? And Natalya just like completely brushed that off.
Disregarded it.
And then I was like, She's
Right.
smart. Like, she knows that this is like, there's something more going on than what, like, there's no way that she's just gonna come in and hate you for no reason, you know? And
Yeah.
so like she immediately thought that like maybe Kyle had said something to her. And then even later, Jessica says again when she talks to Toomey, being like, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize that me saying something to Natalya about your expectations on the room was going to start something out. And like, and Toomey was like, oh my God, like she just like had to hug her and be like, you didn't do anything wrong. Like Natalya,
Yeah.
it's not rational here.
No.
But yeah,
Jessica,
Jessica's
she's tapped in. She sees what's going on. She even used the B word. She said it does feel like some
yeah,
bullying
she
stuff
did.
because Jessica was bullied as a child, and so she sees that behavior. She says Natalya's acting like a mean girl because she doesn't like Toomey, probably because Toomey is now in that position that Natalya wants. And so throughout this episode, we see Toomey attempt to talk to Natalya. She goes to her, and first Natalya's like, "If you gotta communicate with me, talk to Kyle." So then she attempts to talk to her again, and she's like, I just need to chill. I just need to chill. Let's do it in the morning. This happens several times. And I'm thinking the whole time, this is exactly why Captain Sandy needs to step in because Natalya is now saying, I'm above reproach. Do not talk to me. I don't want you to talk to me. I don't want you to give me directive. I'm telling you who to talk to. It's like she's establishing a new chain of command. And that's so frustrating to me. So Sandy goes to Toomey, and this is when Toomey is explaining to her, like, I've tried to talk to her. And we get the backstory about how when Toomey was younger and she was doing ballet, her dad was killed, and how she amazingly was able to continue performing through that pain. And that's just a part of who her character is now. She's really good at putting her pain aside and her anger and stuff, and just to get the job done. Chantele, you're a performer. Like, imagine that kind of tragedy happening to a child just minutes before they go on stage. This had to be horrible.
I mean, it shows a lot of strength, absolutely, and shows that she's really a strong person that's going through a lot more than we're seeing here, and that this Natalya person is just so unforgiving. Doesn't even want to get to know Toomey in the sense to know that like, hey, like she's been through some things, human to human. Like, why are you being so nasty to this person that really hasn't done anything to you? I was really shocked and saddened by hearing that story that Toomey had to dance through the pain of like her father passing away. I've had friends of mine pass away, and like I was not able to talk to anybody about it for a long time, like without bawling. And so I'm shocked that she was able to continue on with her dance performance.
Yeah, we get some more nastiness, obviously, from Natalya, where she's talking about how I think Jessica was saying, Kyle and Toomey, this is their first official charter back. Maybe they're feeling like we were feeling on our first one. And Natalya's like, well, they got off easy, so I don't really care. It's like, dang, if you could just let your guns down for 2 seconds and feel some empathy or whatever for the people who just got here and give them a fair shot like you gave them. But no.
Well, she's making
So
it harder on them, to be
she
honest.
really she really is, and she's becoming awful to work with. Like, I would be miserable working with somebody as negative as Natalya. And so that's where we get to the conversation where you were talking about, where Toomey comes in, immediately tells Natalya. Well, first Toomey tells us, I look, it's not going well. I got to figure this out because I'm beefing with the chef. I'm beefing with Natalya. If I gotta take the L here, if I gotta just own that they don't like me or whatever and just smile through it or whatever, we can push through it. I'm gonna come in hat in hand and try to make this work. And so immediately she comes in and says, Natalya, I think you do a great job. I think that there are good qualities about you that are very similar to me. Maybe we're too similar, we're too headstrong. Maybe that's why we're butting heads. And I mean, immediately Natalya is back on that same BS. When you came in, you were just nitpicking this, and you were complaining about so much, and it just shuts Toomey down to where Toomey, you can see she's exasperated. She's like
She's like,
leaning over and it just deflates you. This woman is at work, Chantele. What are we supposed to do in these
I don't
situations?
know.
Captain Sandy, do something.
I mean, I would want a picture overboard, to be honest.
Below
Flip
Deck
her over the
overboard
railing.
coming soon.
Let's push her down that slide.
Oh my gosh,
Sorry.
Chantele, this was the one that got me the most. I was like, what do you want from her? You want to just like you want her to beg for your forgiveness? And that's when she's just like, I don't think we should be friends. You didn't acknowledge me enough. Girl, you did your job for one day. Calm down.
Absolutely. And like she didn't have a Natalya yapping behind her back, like, or in her
Mm-hmm.
ear, in her face. Like, she didn't have that. And so that additional like negative energy on this charter that you're trying to get your bearings around, like, of course you're going to do a less effective job because you have a handicap, and that handicap is Natalya. Because like
Mm-hmm.
Natalya was going to be super fine with the guests being upset with the fact that they have no towels. She was going to be okay with that because then it will
Yeah,
look like Tumi was incompetent and wasn't able to have like all like the root, like anything
good
that
point.
Natalya does wrong or incorrectly is going to all fall back on Tumi. So then she can say that she is not an effective leader. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, it's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy here for Natalya to be like, yeah, I'm going to be bad. So she looks bad.
You're so right. I mean, she even tells her like, well, my past stews, they would make sure like everything was cleaned up. Like, girl, you still on that? You're still on that, ma'am. She wanted Kyle to go to sleep. Get over it. There are a couple moments where she tries to really personalize the things that Toomey has done, and she says, "Oh, well, when Kyle comes in, you're like, Kyle, have you eaten?" But you don't say anything to me. Who could say anything to you at this point? Who? Like, even if
Mhm.
Toomey
Mhm.
says she doesn't do that to Kyle anyway, but who? Who could go to you and be pleasant when you're acting like such a jerk this entire time? I wouldn't want
Mhm.
to be anywhere near you. And this woman is your boss and is coming to you and basically coming from a place of like, like, hey, I was wrong. How can we fix this? And all you're saying is, I don't want a relationship with you. I don't want to talk to you. She's pointing the finger at her now and saying that this is all your fault. Natalya, you gotta get a grip because this is not the hill to die on. I really feel like you being upset about the first sentence out of Toomey's mouth that you didn't like a day and a half later is really, really tacky. It looks bad
Very.
and it's starting to lead us to believe that you don't like her for other reasons.
Absolutely. Now, I know we'll come back to Natalya because, like, I could probably talk about her for hours, but we do need to talk a bit about Max from France. He was so
Look,
annoying.
listen, this show said
Poor
Natalya might be the
Laura.
bad guy, but we about to pick on Max from France. So Max has the ADHD, he tells us. And as somebody who is sitting with the ADHD as well, I will tell you it is distracting, but at work, nobody cares. You need to do your job. And Max is doing everything but his job at any given chance. He's doing push-ups and pull-ups and hanging out and avoiding work. And Lara is just like, poor lady. She's like, I'm just trying to do my job, man. This is not a vacation, bro. This is work. Why are you acting like this, Max? Chantel, what do you think about Max?
Well, at first, because like, I went to France this summer. I love Paris, is one of my favorite cities. I lived in Montreal, so I have like a bit of an affinity towards French people and French speaking people. And so I do understand his accent because I know a lot of people that have that accent. And so I was like, oh, this is fun. Max is going to be here and he's going to bring a little bit of French energy. And then I was like, oh,
Mm.
he's not necessarily the best representative of a French worker here in this environment. We learned that
Lara.
I
Yeah,
know she
Lara. You
got
got to
mad at
smile when
which
you
one did
say
she
it.
get mad at?
Lara. You got to smile
Lara,
when you say it. Yeah,
Lara.
Lara.
Lara, that Lara's her first language was Afrikaans, and so she doesn't actually know that many English words. And so Max, though, he's French and he's never worked with an English crew, and so he actually doesn't know the words of any parts of the boat. Like, this is a
Yeah.
problem. If I was
Yeah.
going on a job, right? And
Hmm.
I'm going to be on a job that's going to be on TV where I'm going to be working on a boat, in another language that is not my native tongue, I would be learning all the translations for each of the important parts that I need to do my job. When I lived in Montreal, I knew how to work in French behind the bar. Like, I know all the things about the bar. If I'm working a French flight, I know everything on the plane that I need to say in French. And so, like, if I was going to work on a boat for 3 months, like, I would know how to say everything that I need to be said to do my job, especially as a deckhand, because that's a lot more dangerous of a position than being like, est-ce que tu veux un verre d'eau? As opposed to like, I need to bring in the damn anchor. Like, it's shocking to me how much he does not know how to operate on this boat in English. And not to say that he needs to be an English speaker like completely fluently, but to do his job effectively and safely, he needs to know more. And I was just shocked by how much he didn't even care.
He does not care. The man does not care at all, Chantele. He does not care.
Break.
Yeah, he's like, is it time to go for break? What time is it? I got to go. I've been sitting down. He said, bro, this is my first day. We working way too hard. The crazy thing is that,
and with his break too, and then he's like, yeah, take a break for an hour, then come back and help us do something, and then you can go back off for the rest of the night.
And he's like, what? Come back? Why would I come back? Yeah. Oh my God. The man. So Max kills me because Max has told us that he got fired from every job that he's ever had. And it shows.
Let's hire him for a
totally shows. What was his resume, Chantele? Like every 3-4 months, this man is getting fired. And they're just, and Captain Sandy's like, fine.
He probably just put like the year.
Oh, right? Okay. He didn't say why he left.
No, he put like that in 2020, he worked at this place. In 2021, he worked at this place. But it doesn't show the duration of time. So people can just assume that he worked there for the whole year.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is that they don't understand Max, and he don't understand them either. And so Captain Sandy's kind of just like, when Max says stuff, she's like, yeah, whatever, it's fine. Like, she doesn't really know how to communicate with him either. And Luca is very excited that, they have a full deck team, but it doesn't feel like they have a full deck team because Lara is telling us this is not it. This man is not doing his job. She's such a go-getter, and she's so she takes so much initiative. She's like, I this, I can do this, that it seems like Luca is potentially looking at her as a second in command, right? Like, was that that's what he went to Captain Sandy about, right?
Yes. What's the position called? First office? No,
something like that, right? He does go to Captain Sandy, and he's like, what if we tried to
first
move
mate?
her around a little bit? No, I don't think first mate is the one. I can't remember. It'll come to me in a second. Yeah, chat, help us out here. But they want he wants to kind of almost promote her into a more active role in leadership because he's new here. This is Luca's first time as the head bosun. Oh, lead deckhand. That's the one. Thank you, Thundercats. Yeah, and so it does feel like this might be a role for Lara. Now, she's going to have to learn how to deal with Max because
Max is not making it through the whole charter season.
You think Max is being fired? It's got to be happening, right?
Who's getting fired first? Max or Natalya?
Oh man, I think maybe Max is going first. Yeah, because
I think he'll do something dangerous. When danger comes into play, that's like a no-go zone, especially for Captain Sandy. She'll be like, sorry, deuces, you're out of here. Kind of like the guy in the beginning. We didn't even talk about him.
Oh yeah, well, the guy who lied. Ruin. Yeah, he lied at his.
He literally lied.
Yeah, he made it all up, fake, falsified documents. He was trying to get this job, Chantele.
That was really, 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 really bad. And he was just like, well, okay, I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt for a second, in the sense that maybe he did have a person that was lying about what they were offering, come to the boat, offer them some sort of certification, and give them false documentation. So maybe that is what happened. But it seems like he knew that they were fake. Because he's like, so wait, you can't get this certification on a boat. You have to go to classes and go to school for it. And he's like, oh yeah. And then he's like, oh yeah, the paper is in my friend's safe. And Luca's just like, hey man, it's just weird that you don't bring your official documents on the boat. He's like, I've never heard of that. And he's never
No,
even been boasted, and he's never really heard of that.
Chantele, the worst part about this is Captain Sandy holds up a photo of this man and it's not him and says, "Is this you?" And he says, "Yeah." It's like, that is not you. Stop playing. You know that ain't you. Cut it out.
So
Um,
bad. And he didn't
yeah,
say goodbye to anybody. He just like takes off. They're like, he's not gonna even say bye. So
yeah,
that's what makes me think that he just was caught. But like, you
yeah.
can't go on TV and like not expect to get caught.
You
Like,
had to know that was
they're
gonna happen. And
definitely
then
gonna
to
be
happen
doing
on TV.
everything by the book. Yeah.
Right. It didn't happen in front of everybody. Like, we could all see this happening. So I don't know what happened there. There's definitely some shadiness.
So
But I
shady.
don't know if Max is an upgrade, because throughout this episode, Max is presenting himself as lazy. There's a lot of overlap between, Natalya walking around and saying a lot of mean personal stuff about Tumi, whereas Lara is walking around saying, "No, he's not doing his job. Like, please, someone help me. This man is not helping me do my job. He's making my job worse. He's probably somewhere BSing right now, because and work is hard for me." So it's like it shows you how work can affect somebody in a professional way, and it annoys them, and they go talk about it, and then work can like affect somebody, and they take it so personally, and it looks so different because Lara goes to she goes to Luca and even tells him, "Look, I'm trying my best here, but this guy is not doing what needs to be done." We see that she's carrying up like chairs and walking this hike up and down this like,
Just like,
yeah,
oh,
and
she's like,
and
"These
he's
are
sitting around like,
necklace."
yeah, like, "Sir, grab a chair, do something." He's just like, "Oh, do you need help?" Like, yeah,
And then
yeah,
he's like,
you
goes
need
down.
help.
He's like, "I'm gonna go back to the boat," and she's just like,
Bruh, he volunteered to be the one to go back. He's like, "All right, well, this is my time. I guess I'm gonna go ahead and head back. I'm a little tired." We see him laying on the pool floaty. We see him doing pull-ups, like push-ups, just hanging around, hanging out, not really pulling his weight. And then we finally get to the end where we see this happens to affect Haley. Now, we don't get a lot of information from Haley, but in
"We got
this
her
moment,
boobs. She did
yeah,
flash her boobs."
we got a Haley flash. But in this moment, Haley is like, "All right, I just need this is a two-person job. So we need two people." Luca says, "Good. Max, go help out Haley." They're trying to get the boat to dock and they're pulling. And Haley's pulling. She's like, "I need you over here. Come jump in. Help me out. Come on, Max, where you at?" And Max is just standing there like a chicken with his head cut off. He's not helping at all. And Haley is just visibly upset because everyone's calling like, "Hey, we need more. We need more than line. We need the line. We need the line." And she's like, "I'm trying. Max, do something." And he starts talking like, "Yeah, maybe if you pull right here." Max, shut the hell up and grab something. Like, this is ridiculous. This man, what is he doing?
I
How
don't
did
think
he end
he's
up with
ever
this
worked on the
job?
boat.
He claims that he has. He even got offended. Like, "I've been on a boat several times. This is my fourth one." It can't be. There's no way.
Can't be.
No
Like,
way.
it can't be.
Poor Haley.
It was,
Haley,
I felt bad for her because like people were waiting on her to throw the lines, and like she wasn't able to do something because Max wasn't doing what he's supposed to be doing in Succession. And it's unfortunate that like these two women that were working really well without him like are now failing because of him. And so I think that they were doing better beforehand, so I think that he'll be gone. I think he'll
yeah.
make it through one more episode, maybe.
He got no more times to kick her in the dick. She's not gonna stand for it. But yeah, this is bad because that is the most cohesive team so far. The deckhands have all been once Luca got in charge, it really feels like they all get along, they all working good together. Like, they just have one piece of the puzzle that is not quite doing what it needs to do, and it's Max. And I just don't think he has any interest in being better. Like, I think Max gets fired here very quickly because Captain Sandy is now involved in this one, right? Like, she's been hearing about the Tumi and Natalya argument almost as like a third party. Like, she's kind of like, "Oh, what happened? What's going on? What are y'all arguing about?" But here, she's the one calling and being like, "What's up? What's going on?" And everybody's like, "It's Max. He's not doing his job." And so if I had to guess, I'd say that he's not long for this below deck world. But he's good drama. I mean, it happened fast.
I'm shocked at how bad he is. When he came out of the boat, I did not think he was going to be as bad as he is. And when he first started doing the pull-ups, I was like, choice.
choice.
But I didn't think it was gonna be as bad as he became. And like it's almost like he's choosing to be the worst possible employee as he
Yes,
can.
on
But I
purpose.
like it seems like he's doing it on purpose, but I don't think he is. And that's also what's very shocking. Because
He
he's
told
just
us he just gets fired all the time. And
I get it.
look, it's right there. Yeah, I understand. Thank you, Max. You know, he's like, I'm just a French bulldog. Like, no, I don't think that's
I'm like, oh
don't
my god, just
like calm down. Do your
do your
job,
job.
sir. Yes, please do your job. That's a lot of the crew drama. I think that we still, of course, have to talk about the primary. So we had already met this group, and with this group in particular, we do have like, of course, the drama with the food and an amazing. It looked like they had a great day now that the weather has cleared up, you know. And so I know that they were very disappointed at first because it was so bad. But Mecca and her husband are
I
now
was also really like, I'm like, man, the black charter has to get on the boat in the rain.
in the
That's like
rain.
not
Yeah.
fair. That's
It,
so
they
terrible.
they get to bounce back. They do. The weather's good, and so they get to get the toys out. They got the jet ski. They got the
You're the
slide.
massage
Yeah,
person.
Chantel, is this up your alley? Are you a boat girl?
I like a boat.
You like a boat?
I do
I
like
like a boat. I do.
I
I
mean,
don't know if I'm brave enough to jump off the boat into the water. I don't know. That
I've
just kind
done
of
that
what feels like.
before.
Really?
I
Okay.
have. I have. So I actually worked on a charter boat before, not in the same capacity as Below Deck. I wish that I have. I know some people that have done
Really?
these charter things out of Australia, and they've also been approached by Below Deck. I'm like, can you just go on the show so I can cover you and you can
Right.
cover the show and then
FaceTime
you can
me.
come on? Yeah.
Yeah,
So they're like,
FaceTime me
no,
from
we
the
don't want
deck.
to do it. They don't want to. They didn't want to actually be on the show, but they
Yeah.
do. They have worked in that kind of world. So when I was living in Vancouver, I worked on a boat where people would charter it. We'd just go around just like a smaller area in in Vancouver, Cole Harbor area. And
Mhm.
one time though, we had the after party for Zach Galifianakis's wedding. And so like I
Ooh.
remember like they took all of our phones away, and then we had like a lot of pretty big celebrities. Like John Hamm was there with his wife at the time,
Ooh.
Jennifer, and what's his name? Ted Danson was there with Mary Steenburgen, and like all these like all the people from the show that I
Fancy.
can't remember the name of the show right now. Burn After Reading, is it that one?
Okay.
Anyways, yeah, so that was
Yes.
one of the charters that I remember working on, where we like, it was like a midnight boat ride after his wedding, and we took it around like the harbor a few times. So I have worked on a charter before. I was interior.
I was like, we have a real life stew with us, y'all.
I am
So
Chief Stew. I wasn't Chief Stew. I was Stew.
did you want to go and attack someone because you weren't Chief Stew? Did you really want to
I
just like yell
would
at them?
never. I love not having any sort of
Same.
control. Like
Just
I
tell me
just
what
like,
you want me
yeah,
to do.
what do you want me to do? I'll do it well.
Right.
Like I don't want
Yes.
I don't need for people to come to me because I have the power. Like I'm just like, nah. I mean, I'll take the role and I'll be great at it, but like I doesn't need to define me and my ego. I'm cool. I'm
Yeah.
cool with being number two.
So I've never been on like a charter boat thing like this in my adult life. I think when I was a kid, I was on. We did it like once with like it was like this big like group thing that everybody did, and so I didn't get to really enjoy it because now, oh Chantel, I would live my best life. Like I've been on a cruise ship, that's different. But I would live my best life in here because I saw that there was a moment where Mecca was talking to Tumi, and she was showing Tumi how to make a proper mimosa. Chantel, that's my love language.
She knew how to make your type of mimosa for sure. No mimosa, no orange juice.
Yeah, you just need a splash of orange juice for color, just a little bit, so it's still mimosa technically, but just a little drop will do. I was like, we've had mimosas together before. At least
Yes,
I
we
had them
have.
with you. Yeah. But yeah,
I'm in
I
the
love this
same
time.
boat. I'd prefer it to be just a splash of OJ.
Just a splash,
I
just
don't
a
need it to
little
be
bit for
half.
color. Right, exactly. Like we're here to party, we're having a good time. And so they end up going, like I said, they had the toys, they end up going on their big excursion. They got to go shopping. That was pretty cool.
I loved all their outfits, honestly. Like I think that they were one of the better dressed like groups that came on, because like I loved all their outfits. Like, ooh, where's that bathing suit from? Ooh, that's cute. Like I found like all their clothing choices were really on point.
Yeah, no, I love them as a group because I remember the whole time I'm watching, I'm thinking I could kind of see myself kind of in
You
these
can hang
mode.
out with
Like let
them.
me let me.
Oh my
No, I don't
god.
know if I can hang
Wait,
out with them.
hold on. I'm
They're a
just
little too
thinking
stuck up for me.
something. Should
What's
we
up?
pitch this to Rob? Should there
Yes,
be like instead of
yes,
like a live at a theater, but should there be like an RHAP boat cruise?
yes. Look, let's make it happen. Listen, even if it's just a charter one day, I'm saying nothing
That's
crazy.
freaking amazing.
Yeah, below like RHP below deck. It'll work. I'm telling you. Because this group, like I said, they're a little bit too stuffy for me. Like I'm a lot more. We've hung out. I'm a lot more like we taking shots. Are we taking shots right now? Is it time? And they seemed like they were having a nice, classy time. They got to go to the big, huge Santa Margarita Castle, and that's where they had their picnic there. It was a hike. I'm not gonna lie to you. I know it probably wasn't that hot outside because I've taken like I like a good excursion. I do. But I like to vacation and vacation. Like I like to chill. Like
Yeah. You got
drive me up the cliff. I don't want to walk up there. But they loved all of it. They even liked all the jerk seasoning.
most of the jerk seasoning.
Yeah, most of the jerk seasoning.
Yeah, like he definitely didn't seem like he cared that much about this group and their preferences, unfortunately. But like they seem to like a lot of his food in the beginning. The jerk, what did they give it, a 7 out of 10, or was it
They
it wasn't
gave
a
this
10?
no, I think they said the jerk was a 10 out of 10, but
Jerk?
the I don't know if it was the jerk or was a 10 out of 10. I just remember that the vegan was a
It's
2
like
out of 10.
2.
Yeah. That's incredible because they've been rating him and like yeah, if they do have to leave a 5-star rating for the chef, I don't think he's getting one.
No, no. I mean, it's hard to make vegan food if you don't like it, if you don't even understand why people like vegetables. So it's going to be a little bit of a problem making a plant-based meal for somebody. But the charter's almost over.
Yeah, and so that's the big theme for the dinner that night is that they do have the Caribbean stuff. We've talked about some of the drama with having the food fried, but it does feel to me that Jack isn't really he don't really care about the vegan portion of this because he says I don't like it. It's not something that I do well. I don't really do vegetables like that. I don't really do vegan, but it shows because all of the hangups seemingly are coming from the vegan side of the menu. So
Mhm.
again, it's easy for him to point the finger at Tumi and be like, "Oh well, you didn't tell me they wanted this," or maybe there's some type of disconnect or communication problem. When you could just take a look and see that, oh no, it seems like you're doing the stuff that you like to do very well. And the stuff that the primary's guest actually wants not so well. And the primary, Mecca, she is very intent on making sure that her guests get to enjoy
Mhm.
all the finer things this time, and they will not settle for less. And I don't think they should. I think you spend a lot of money, and that people, especially minorities, a lot of times we feel like we just have to just take it. Like, oh well, this is better than what we've been having, so obviously I'm gonna just like it's not what I wanted per se, but I'll take it just to kind of keep the peace, to try to keep the fun going. And I think you spend too much money on this kind of stuff to just
Absolutely,
take it.
100%. And I wonder if it were any other ethnic background of a group and there was a vegan person, if when they asked for some fried tofu and some fries, if they wouldn't have tried to elevate it a bit. And so
Mm.
instead of it being some McCain fries, like maybe they would let's like actually make some real fries that they've made from scratch with like a nice aioli that they did that they whipped up on their own, and like they do something like elevate it a little bit so it's at least a 5-star like dish. Instead it like literally was from the kids table with like some fries on a small plate with a piece of tofu. And so I'm just curious if he would have done put in a little bit more effort if it was another ethnic background. Just
It wasn't
wondering.
no garnish or nothing. No,
Nothing.
he
There's
just
no
threw
green,
like
no
dry
color.
ass, right? Just
It
dry
looked
ass
it literally looked like they
tofu
went to like the chafing dish at the kids table at the wedding and got some
and
fries
scooped
out
out
of
a
the
piece of tofu and some fries. Exactly. Like I was like, first, I'm not a tofu guy. So I'm already kind of like, that doesn't look appealing. But the way it was presented, even, it looked like tofu with seasoning on it and fries. I was like, I would love to see more than that. Thundercats in here says a lot of rich people like vegetables. So he needs to get it together. Exactly. Y'all are out here working for tips. So let's work, And Thundercats also thanks you, Chantele, for asking the questions. I do think that these conversations are very nuanced. I think that it's easy at face value to just be like, he doesn't care about vegan food, or Natalya's upset because Tumi said one thing. But I think we're all like, whole experiences, right? And so the same way Tumi carries that weight of that moment with her dad passing away or being murdered or whatever, right before she went on and did ballet, that colors the way that she looks at the world and that how she interacts with things. She says, I put my feelings to the side because of that. Well, these other people's interactions color the way they act towards stuff too, And so there's nothing to say that, all of this stuff cannot be discussed. We cannot say one way or another if it's true, but we can definitely ask the questions, Chantele. Mm-hmm. So I really appreciate it.
And definitely when I was watching the show, I was like, uh-oh. Got a lot of questions. So, but I'm happy to be here to ask them, because this is one of the reasons why I do enjoy reality TV. I was mentioning it when I was on the the update with Taryn the other day, and we're just talking about the fact that we get to have these interesting, more nuanced conversations about people and their social interactions, the whole dynamic between human beings on this planet. We get to watch through the lens of reality TV. And so as much as it can be annoying or frustrating for other people to hear these conversations, it's part of my life experience. And so it is fascinating and interesting for me to invoke these conversations, because it's what I live and it's what I see and it's what I question. So yes, I'm happy to have a platform and opportunity to have these conversations.
Yeah, and I'm happy to have you here because this is fun. Like I said, I know you are a professional student. You've done this, and so I know that like this is.
I mean, I'm like a stewardess on a plane, so it literally is like the same world but in the air.
Yeah, and so the charter actually goes well for the primary and their guests. We see that they're about to dock, and that's obviously where we get into all of the drama with Max and whether or not they're going to be able to dock, in the right way and get back on land. I'm pretty sure they'll work it out, but it's gonna have people looking at Max crazy. But what do you think about the tip? Now, we haven't gotten there yet, but the primary has had a mixed review here. There's been some questions about the food several times over, but they really did love their interactions with Tumi. You're thinking that they're gonna be like very kind about their moment with the Below Deck crew, or they're gonna be more like cutting with some of their their ratings?
I wasn't sure, because I have found in the Below Deck world that it seems as though the people of color that leave they have higher expectations, and so if a few things go wrong, it does reflect in the tip. We do notice that, and sometimes in other groups, like, things can go wrong, but that doesn't really affect their tip. So I think that their tip is going to be fair, because I think that they want Tumi. I think that they really did love seeing Tumi in this management position. I think that they were really excited whenever she came around. Tumi would come around dancing and they'd be like, yes, Tumi. Like, they appreciated seeing someone that looked like them in that role. And so I think that might bump up their tip a little bit, even though that they were going to start off fair. So I think they'll just be a little bit above fair. I don't think it's going to be completely over the top, because unfortunately they had rain the first day, and it's just like, it sucks. Like, we don't want rain, and they can't help that, but they were stuck on the boat. And then they just kind of had like a few problems with the kitchen and the menu. So I think it'll be just above fair.
Yeah, I agree. For me, I'm always like, okay, I want to show grace to people of color a lot of times when they're in underrepresented spots. But also, I too am spending my money and I would like a good service. And so I think you could see very obviously that Tumi was trying her best. And that, when they demand to see the chef, she goes and gets the chef. Like that, she was giving them what they wanted. And they made the corrections, and I think that's probably the biggest thing that I can take away from it is if you have a complaint, you bring it up and they fix it, then you say, okay, cool. At least, you're paying attention to your care. So I'm really hoping that, they're able to show some love here as well. But Chantele, that wraps up the charter. Do you have anything else you want to say about this episode?
I'm hoping that maybe Natalya will see the error of her ways and just come around, because I don't want her to be fired and then come to the reunion and still have all that vim for Tumi for absolutely nothing. Like, I just I just would like it to be a nice working relationship. I don't want this poor Black woman to have to be on defense this entire season because of this woman, Natalya. So I hope that they can maybe they'll get drunk and they will have a heart to heart and they'll hug it out and they'll be fine. I'm hoping that will happen because like it's a bit of a tired storyline in my opinion, just to have this conflict. And especially even if Natalya leaves, which I would prefer than like the conflict to stay on. But I think it would just be better in general for the season, for these two women's livelihoods, for them just to like figure it out and get along. And so that's what I'm kind of hoping for. Are you hoping for it too, or do you want her out? Get her out of here.
I'm kind of with Thundercats. I think Natalya's time is up. I think that people are being very kind to her, but at some point, this has gotten very personal to where you start hollering about being friends when Tumi was not coming to you to be your friend. She was coming to you to establish a working relationship with her boss, with your boss. So she's like, hey, I don't even want to be your friend. Okay, well, I wasn't talking to you about that, but we can deal with that when you don't work here anymore. So I think that it's time.
Do you think they'll get someone else?
Oh yeah, they got to. I think it's a big boat.
Do you think the girl that they let go that was just like the placeholder until 2
Oh yeah, they can bring her back,
even though she doesn't know how to do anything?
Yeah, but I mean, come on, she can learn how to change trash bins. You know what I'm saying? Like I think you can teach that kind of stuff. And she seemed to be fine as a temp. So maybe they go get her back. I'm just hoping that if someone has to get fired, it's not to me. But like I said, judging by my experience with Captain Sandy this time, I'm not I'm optimistic but cautiously. If
Tumi gets fired, I better be on that for that recap with you guys.
We'll bring you back, Chantele. What are you talking about? We got to. Also, Zen in the chat says they're in a small rural community, very little diversity, and they appreciate any opportunity to learn what they don't know. That's the thing. Like, we're not in here making any sweeping generalizations about Natalya. We're just talking about what we see on the screen, and we are relaying it to our experiences. And so if people have different experiences, that is fine. You feel free to leave that in the YouTube comments and say, hey, I didn't get that, but this is what I did get. But at the end of the day, we're just here to talk about what we see and to kind of just, if we have to educate people on our experience, then we can, because, TV podcasters, we're kind of underrepresented too, and so we have now stepped into a space where we get to talk and tell our points of view, but we have to speak up for people like Tumi who get to be the only one in their role, and talk about, some of the things that maybe she can't say on the show or that they don't air on the show. And so, yeah, we love being able to talk about this stuff and we love all the feedback. So I'm very excited to see what happens next. I'm excited because this season has been fun. But one thing I haven't gotten from this season, Chantele, is I haven't seen my people party yet. On all my Below Deck previously, I'm used to them. They get the charter done, they go out and they have a good time. So I really would like to see them loosen up a little bit.
It's coming. That's why I'm saying like maybe they're going to have a heart to heart when they go out between the next two charters, and maybe they'll be able to see eye to eye, or maybe it's a complete opposite. They get into even worse of a fight and then it's going to be cause for Natalya to get fired. It's going to be one of the two.
One of the two, but we'll be here to check it out. Chantele, thank you so much for coming. Could you please tell our Below Deck RHAP listeners where to find you?
You can find me on Instagram at ShanFranFran, on Twitter at Shan___Fran, or my YouTube channel, Reality Realist with 3 S's.
Yes, and Chantele and I will be in LA soon.
In costumes.
In costumes. I'm still working out mine. Don't worry. I should be somebody Below Deck. I don't know. I got to figure out a way to do that. But I did meet Thundercats in New York. I don't think they met you, Chantele. And so yeah, Thundercats in the chat was in New York at the live show.
Thundercats, did I meet you?
Yeah, I was like, but if not, if you're listening to this and you will be in the LA area for the RHAP live event, please, feel free. Come take a photo or something like that. Because I love meeting the deckhands, the peanut galley, as we call them.
That's really cute.
Yeah, we call them peanut galley here. Thank you. Sasha came up with, she's so smart. Or the chat and Sasha came up with it. It was not me. Just know that. But in the meantime, you can follow me on Twitter at Chappelle's_show to keep up with all the things that I'm doing as well. Check out suitspodcast.com for daily Suits coverage. I'll be doing Big Brother coverage this weekend on the Sunday episode.
I'm on tonight. Yeah.
Yes.
Are you on tonight too? No,
I'm on Sunday. Not on tonight. But yes, very excited for more Big Brother coverage. And of course, follow me on Twitter and I'll tweet out the links to everything else. But thank y'all so much for being here. Zen recommending us for permanent positions. Yeah, Sasha will be back. I'll be very happy to go back to being CEO. But Chantele, you're always welcome. And
I'll
y'all
come
are,
anytime.
yeah, and our listeners are welcome too. So feel free, leave us some reviews, come back, and we will see you all next time. Until next time, take care, everybody. Bye.